No, sure. And there's another thing to take into consideration because when you were talking about tone, words in and of themselves, you got three ways to look at a word. You got the dictionary definition, that's the literal definition. Then you've got the definition plus the connotation, the underlying meaning based on whose ever experience it was. But then you've got something else when you talk about tone, the state of mind of the receiver. That's where the problem is. You walk into the room, your wife's got a new outfit on, and you say, boy, you look good today. She's in a good mood. She says, thank you. Something happened that morning and she's in a horrible mood. You walk in and you say, boy, you look good today, and you're in trouble.
Yeah. And you know what? It's true. It's going to happen. Understanding the influences that the people are under at the moment, and especially in that situation, not taking it personally, that, there's something else going on here. It has nothing to do with what you said. That awareness factor of recognizing that that's not really the response I was expecting, so there must be something else going on. And don't take it personally, and just be aware of that moment. And it's a really good point, Michael, because when you are somebody, you get a reaction from somebody you're not expecting, that's a good chance that there's something influencing them a little bit more. They might be using more of a little brain reaction than we might expect.
No, absolutely. And there's something that you deal with, and it's your 10th talking point, and I think this is one of the most critical things that we can look at. Most people have no idea what in the next 5 or 10 years, they say, I'm this way today, how am I going to be? There was something that you can do if you project out ahead 15, 20, 25 years from now, and you're at a dinner party, and the dinner party is in your honor, and you write down what you want everybody to say about you at that dinner party. Now you've got 10 or 15 years to become that. And one of the things that you're talking about is legacy. And legacy, and you're absolutely spot on right. Most people, they think it's something that you leave behind us when you die. Called create it now. You have total control over it.
Really, really good, Michael. Thank you. Legacy is it, and we're living today the legacy of what we said yesterday and what we said a week ago and a month ago. And it's a great concept you bring up between the difference between a roast and a toast. And I think that, if you look into the future, don't look too far. Just look to next week and look at the conversations you're having today and how they're going to impact when you're dealing with coworkers, when you're dealing with employees, when you're dealing with family. What you say today will resonate tomorrow. And, I think that one of the great things about a legacy is you're building trust in a legacy. Every time you speak, it adds to your trust or takes it away. If you're using your big brain, you're definitely adding to it. If you're using your little brain, it just takes away people's ability to trust you as much.
Sure.
I think if we all make mistakes, no one's perfect. We're going to use our little brain once in a while. And if we do, that's okay, because the good thing is there's no expiration date on an apology.
Yeah.
And, if we say something wrong this week, it's okay to next week to call somebody and say, hey, you know what, maybe I was drinking a little bit too much, or I had too much, or I was under pressure from my boss, and I probably overreacted to that situation. Take away that negative legacy at any time. There's a great story about a girl who was bullied quite a bit in elementary school, and she went on Facebook, and on Facebook, the bullies who were bullying her found her and apologized 20 years later for what they had done. And I love that story because it's just so true that there is no expiration date. And it also lets us know that if we do make a mistake and if we do use our little brains, we can make up for it.
No, absolutely. And there's also something called, and you were talking about it with the kids, it's called pay attention, especially with parents and kids today. We live in such a fast-paced, microwavable, high-energy world today. We forget to take a look. There was an old play, there was an old movie called Our Town, and I will never forget. There was a scene in it where the young woman she wasn't young, but she had died. She'd gone to heaven, and they gave her a gift. They allowed her to come back on her 10th birthday. And so she came back to Earth on her 10th birthday, and she was dressed up, and she had her birthday dress on, and she was looking good. And she came running down the stairs, and her dad was at the bottom of the stairs, and she said, "Daddy, look at me." She said, "It's my birthday. Look at me. I'm all dressed up." And he said, "Don't bother me right now. I got to go make money to pay for this." And she comes down in the kitchen and her mom is there and she said, "Mom, look at me, look at this." And her mom looked at her and said, "But don't bother me right now. I'm making a birthday cake for you for the party, etc." And then she stopped for a while and she had a tear in her eye and she looked back up in heaven and she said, I want to come back. It's too tough down here.
Wow, that's a wonderful story, Michael. That's and that's so key to the point, is that those moments that she experienced with that could have been so different.
Yeah.
Had the parents themselves recognized that this was a moment that they wanted to be proud of. I know that my daughter walked down the stairs one time and she was in this really wild outfit that she wanted to show me because of a play she was in, and I looked at it and I immediately started critiquing.
Yeah.
And she looked at me and she turned around. She went back upstairs and I realized walking back upstairs, oh my gosh, she wanted me to be enamored with this outfit. She didn't want me to critique it.
Yeah.
And I lost that moment, but I immediately went back and I just said, you know what? I'm sorry. That was my fault. I apologize. But your story is so perfect for this concept, because it is that awareness of the moment. It is being there.
Yeah, yeah. And that also is communication. How many times do we get into conversations with someone and you're there with that person, but you're not there? You're 20 minutes ahead or you're 2 hours behind, and they experience it. And I think that's the one thing that if everybody would take the concepts of what you have here and what you have in the book and what you're teaching and apply it to their own lives, I think there would be a lot of problems that wouldn't have to happen in this world today, because it all lies in somebody accepting someone else, accepting the way they talk, accepting their concepts or ideas or how they are, or quote unquote, the dress that might have been strange going to school in, but it was great for the play. And I really believe that's one of the things we're starting to miss today.
Yeah, and it's true, and I think that's why I wrote the book. I wrote the book because I saw too many relationships falling apart because people would fall into these little traps, and over and over, and each time they did, it would have an impact on the relationship. And so, in studying all this stuff, I really want to focus on just helping people in their everyday life communicate a little bit better, getting a little bit better at what they do, and helping myself too get a little bit better at communicating.
Yeah, and I think there's a very important rule that everybody should put up on their walls, get T-shirts, and etc. It's not what you say; it's what they hear that makes or break you. The communication is not about what you're saying; it's about what they're hearing.
That's so key, and that's really recognizing that you're in a conversation that is a dialogue between two people and not a monologue.
Yeah.
With just one person speaking. And I think that you hit it right there. That's a perfect illustration.
Yeah, Kevin, we're just about out of time now. Website we can find you at, get the book, find out what else you're doing.
Sure, thank you, Michael. It's bigbrain.com, and it's not because I'm a big brain, it's because I want people to look at using their big brains more often, but it's bigbrain.com.
Anna is with us.
Yeah, no, by the way, La Cienega, which is obviously still there. I don't know if Restaurant Row is there anymore. Is that gone or is that still there?
There's a couple restaurants still there. It's still technically Restaurant Row.
Okay.
It's changed a little bit. Some of the restaurants have changed, but it's still here, and there's still some great food there.
Do you know what the literal...
Ours is still there.
Oh, really? Do you know what the literal translation of La Cienega is?
Oh, that's a good question. I should know the answer to that, but I do not know.
Let me give you the answer. You may not want to tell anybody. Restaurant Row is the name. La Cienega means the sewer.
Oh.
So we'll keep that secret between us.
Again, one of those words that's maybe lost in translation.
No, I got you. Hey, by the way, thank you so much for joining us, and I appreciate your time and I appreciate the work that you're doing.
Michael, thank you. I really love your show.
Great. Thank you. Good night.